how some seasons of life just feel more abundant while others push you to slow down and rebuild? That's not random. It's your progressed moon phase showing you when to expand, when to save, and when to start your next big financial chapter. So today I'm breaking down how to use your progressed moon to time your money moves with cosmic precision. So if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today's video is all about your progressed moon phases and financial rhythm. I have to say that this is one of my favorite topics. Anytime we talk about progressed moon phases, they tell you a lot, and I mean a lot, about what chapter you are in life. Now, just by way of information and sort of like a disclaimer, this is a little bit of advanced astrological knowledge. Now, it uses a different chart. So you have a natal chart, right? Which is the moment that you were born. It's a snapshot, a photo of the cosmos, the moment that you were born. Think of your natal chart as a picture. Now, if you take that picture and you progress it, essentially you change it into a movie, that would be your progressed natal chart. It shows your evolution from birth until now or until any point in time in the future. And it can really tell you a lot about how you evolve. I'm going to do a whole separate video on the progressed natal chart specifically, but suffice it to say, one of the things I love to tell people is that you are not your sun sign forever. Your sun will progress into a new sign. So let's say you are a Cancer. You absolutely hate Leos. Guess what? At some point in your life, depending on how long you live and where your sun is actually located in your natal chart, you yourself are going to be a Leo. Okay. And so it shows our evolution. One of the more important planets in a progressed natal chart is the moon. The moon is the fastest moving planet in a progressed natal chart, and its movement definitely tells us about what chapter we are in life. And if you watched video 15, I talked about how the moon basically details your financial flow and your financial rhythm. Well, your progressed moon does the same thing, but on a larger scale. I want you to think of the progressed moon phases. And what I mean by that is there is a phase in life where you will have a progressed new moon phase, or when you'll have a progressed full moon phase. This signifies a chapter of life that mimics the qualities and characteristics of a new moon or a full moon. So there's a time in your life where you get a complete reset. There's also a time in your life when you are shining and you're really out there, right? Your progressed moon phases can detail that, and it does detail that. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking about the progressed moon phases and what they mean for your financial rhythm. So it's like we're taking the regular moon phases and we're turning it up a notch, and it's giving us so much information. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so let's get into the progressed moon phases and financial rhythm. So I want you to think about and meditate on this core idea. The progressed moon moves through all 8 phases over about 27 years, which means that it spends roughly 3.5 years in each phase. So it's almost like the universe divides your life up into these chapters, and each chapter lasts about 3.5 years. Okay. Each phase describes a chapter of your financial story, how you earn, how you spend, and how you invest based on your inner energy cycle. So perhaps you're in a progressed new moon phase. What that would mean for your money, well, I'm actually jumping the gun. I'll get to that in a second. But essentially, that 3.5 year chapter of your life can tell you how your money is going to flow, essentially. All right. So, especially if your progressed moon is in one of your money houses, you'll feel or experience this energy very profoundly. So, of importance is that everything that I am describing throughout this series, right? It can either be playing in the backdrop or it could be on the main stage, meaning your progressed your progressed moon phase for the moment could be happening in a money house, which means that money matters are center stage. Or it's happening in a non money house, which means that it's sort of running in the background. Because remember, the moon can correlate to our financial flow, to our cash flow. So even if you have lunar activity in a non money house, money matters are still kind of playing in the background. They're kind of ebbing and flowing. All right. So hopefully that makes some sense. All right. So let's get into some progressed moon phases and money themes. And the first is my favorite, which is the new moon phase. So this is when your progressed sun and your progressed moon are conjunct. And during this 3.5 to 4 year phase of your life, this is a great time where seeds of new beginnings are planted. It's a great time to launch projects, take risks, and explore new income paths. Basically, you get a clean slate when it comes to your finances. And so it's a great time to start things and plant new seeds, just like you would at a regular new moon. All right. During this time, you're building the foundation for future abundance. So you're laying the bedrock, you're laying the foundation, you're tilling the soil for the seeds you plant that will bloom, that will sprout in the future. Next is the waxing crescent phase, okay? And this correlates exactly to the regular lunar phase. So you'll want to watch video 15 where I talk about the regular lunar phases and your financial flow. I'll link that in the description box below so you can check it out and see how these two correlate because they mimic each other. This is just rather than the regular lunar phase talking about when money is going to be the topic in any given month. Your progressed lunar phase talks about when money will be a topic in any given 3.5 year period in your life. All right. Again, hopefully that makes sense. But again, let's get back to the waxing crescent phase. This is when momentum builds. Okay. You experience small wins. Perhaps you get new clients. But most importantly, your urge to be consistent with your effort, your urge to keep going. All right. Keep saying yes to opportunities and put yourself out there. Now, the one contrast that I'll say in putting these two videos together, meaning the lunar phase video, video 15, and this video, I talk about the 8 phases here. Whereas in the previous video, I only talked about the major 4. I talk about 8 here because during the course of your life, you may not experience, well, let me not say that. Depending on how long you live, you may not experience all 8 phases. And everyone is different in where they're at, in what progressed lunar phase they are in. So I include all the 8 because maybe you're someone who will only go from full moon to new moon, right? And so new moon to full moon doesn't apply to you. So I include all the 8 for that reason. So if you're hearing different phases in this video than in the previous video, that would be why. All right. So now let's move on to the first quarter phase. All right. This is when you experience a bit of tension and you're urged to take action. It's like the vision I'm getting right now is when you're like prodded, like when cattle are prodded with a hot rod, right? It's like that tension, that uncomfortability gets you to move. All right. So this is a phase when financial decisions and hard work begin to pay off. But most importantly, you are guided to push through the resistance. Next, we have the waxing gibbous phase. And this is the phase that's known as refinement. All right. During this phase, you are perfecting your systems, your pricing, or your offers before a breakthrough. It's like you're at that point where you can see the finish line And if you've ever run track, you know that when you can see the finish line, that is when you push the hardest. You don't slow down. And so when you get to the waxing gibbous phase, not only are you refining your stuff, but you're pushing until you reach a breakthrough, which typically happens at the full moon phase. And the full moon phase is a time of harvest. It's perhaps when you have and experience major financial clarity, you experience success, or even recognition for a job well done, right? That's part of the breakthrough I was just talking about. It's also very important, especially if you've watched any of my moon series videos, meaning the videos that I put out for any new moon or full moon, right? I talk about the full moon as an observation phase. And that's very much so here, right? You see what's paying off and what's not. It's a time of assessment. I did this and it got this reward. I did this and it didn't pan out, or I didn't do anything. I didn't get anything. It's observation. And that observation and assessment is what helps you prepare for the next go around. Then after the full moon phase, we have the disseminating phase. Disseminating is when you teach or share your wisdom. So what you've learned, it's like when you give your testimony, right? When you've reached success and people are like, how did you do it? The disseminating phase is typically when you tell them, when you teach them, right? This is a phase of passive income streams, or even a phase where mentorship may emerge, okay? Thereafter, we have the last quarter phase. And this is a phase of a reassessment, okay? This is when you wrap up old projects, pay off debts, and you simplify. When we leave the full moon and we're working our way towards the subsequent new moon, it's a time of release, it's a time of letting go. So not only are we assessing what worked and what didn't work, we let go. And in terms of finances, you pay off, you simplify, you cut the fat, you cut expenses. That's definitely a great way to take advantage of the disseminating phase, okay? And then last but not least, we have the balsamic phase. This is the darkest phase right before the next new moon. This is a time of rest. It's a time of recalibration, and it's a highly spiritual time. It's when you organize your inner world in order to prepare for the next cycle that's going to begin at the new moon. I have to tell you, I am currently in my progressed new moon phase. Now, I am a Virgo sun, and because of my age, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but because of my age and where my sun is in my natal chart, my sun is now in Scorpio. The moon has also progressed to Scorpio as well. So that is why I'm experiencing a progressed new moon phase. And it literally just started for me July 1st of 2025. But from 2021 to 2025, I was in this balsamic dark moon phase. And honey, it is dark. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that so that you understand that it is a time of reflection. I'm sure you've seen this post on Instagram or social media where it's like, if you're in the dark, it means that you're being planted. And that's exactly what the balsamic phase is about. So it's about rest, recalibration, and it's about getting ready for that new moon phase when you get that clean slate and that fresh start. All right. So this is a time of rest and reset before your next 27-year money cycle begins. And this is a time of letting go of outdated financial patterns. The balsamic phase is when you break karmic cycles. And you do that via the inner work. Now, again, if you're interested, let me know in the comments if you want a video on the progressed moon phases. Hold up. I do so many videos I forgot. I believe I have a video on the progressed new moon phases. I'm going to link it in the description box below so you can use that as a refresher or to understand exactly what I'm talking about. But either way, that balsamic phase, it is about breaking karmic ties. It's about eradicating bad financial habits, and it's about breaking karmic cycles. It is very, very powerful. All right. So now let's talk about some timing insights, okay, for you to keep in mind when sort of thinking about your progressed moon phase and how it affects your finances. All right. So your progressed new moon is your financial rebirth. Your progressed full moon is your financial peak. Okay. So It's like you start at the bottom with your progressed new moon phase. This is when I said before, like you initiate new things, you start a new venture, you invest in a new thing, new job, new career. And then when you get to your progressed full moon phase, which takes about 14 to 15 years. So understand this is a slow burn. But nonetheless, when you reach that progressed full moon phase, this is your financial peak. This is getting a promotion. This is getting recognition. This is getting the money, the investment maturing, right? You get what I'm trying to say. But that's sort of what the trajectory looks like. Understanding your phase helps you make money moves that match your energetic reality, not just external timing. And this is and that is true for everything. Everything that I'm talking about in this series. The whole reason why I'm talking about this series to begin with of money and astrology is because it allows you to align to what works for you. For instance, if you are in a progressed new moon phase, yet you are seeking accolades, recognition, it may not happen because it's not the time for that. It's not to say that it can't, because understand, we live in a reality that doesn't give two flying fucks about nature. So things can pop off at any time. However, if you're in a progressed new moon phase, the best thing to do is plant seeds. Just like if you're in a progressed full moon phase, it's a time to not only experience recognition, but stop and appreciate all that you've done. Observe what is coming to you, what rewards are coming to you for the work that has been completed or for things you've done over a long period of time. It's not about anything not to do I get tongue tied when I say this. It's not about you can't do this. You can't get a promotion if you are in a progressed new moon phase. It's just how to best use the energy. That's all. That's all I'm trying to convey with all of this. All right. So again, it matches your energetic reality, not just external timing. All right. So now let's get into some quick integration tips and why any of this even matters. All right. So first, the progressed moon is like your internal money clock. Okay. It reveals when to hustle and when to rest. Aligning your financial strategy with your lunar phase keeps you in flow, not friction. And I talk about this all the time. You don't want to be swimming upstream. If you can flow with nature, nature will flow with you. Okay. And that's everything that your lunar phase and your progressed lunar phase has to do with your money. Money is one of those situations where you want as least friction as possible, right? So aligning with your lunar phases can help you do just that, all right? And you stop asking, why isn't this working? And you start asking, is this the right time? Time is so important. Divine timing is a thing, and I'm not even bringing that into this here, but timing matters. When you do something matters. The thing about society is that it has conditioned you to completely forget about time in terms of the right time or the best time to do things. Everything is now. Everything is yesterday. And let me tell you, when you adhere to that kind of conditioning, your life becomes 10 times harder. There's a time for everything. There's a season for everything. Especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, if it is the middle of January, I don't think, especially if you live in like the Northeast, I don't think it's going to be the time for you to put on a bikini and go to the beach, right? Especially if there's a blizzard, right? Clearly that makes sense to you. It makes sense that I wouldn't go to the beach in a bikini during a blizzard. Oh, I love alliteration, right? Same thing. I wouldn't build a business when it's not building time in my life. And part of how this works is that you have to quiet the outside noise. Outside noise tells you hustle, grind, do it now. You needed it yesterday. Meanwhile, astrology is like, girl, slow down. Plant right now. Meditate right now. Work right now. Who are you going to listen to? I guess the answer to that question means how much resistance do you want to experience? Just food for thought. But in any event, understanding your progressed lunar phase and how it affects your money helps you answer the question, is this the right time? Point blank, period. Now, keep in mind, my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint, it doesn't deal with your progressed chart. I like to keep things simple. So in the blueprint, we focus on just your natal chart. Your natal chart is where it's at. Every other chart in astrology builds on your natal chart. And so once you master your natal chart, then typically it's a great time to move on to more advanced charts like your progressed natal chart. All right. But if you're curious about what's shaping your financial growth right now, that's exactly what I cover in the blueprint. All right. Your personalized natal chart and the transits currently activating your financial story. All right. And so if you're interested in that, the link to book a free 15-minute clarity call is in the description box below if you're ready to master your natal chart. And maybe you're not necessarily ready to master it on that level. Maybe you want to take your time and learn slowly but surely how to read your natal chart, all right? And when you're ready to learn how to interpret those placements for yourself, that's where my signature self-paced course, Charted, comes in. In this course, you'll be able to go step by step through reading your own natal chart for wealth, love, and a whole bunch of other amazing things. All right. I haven't launched it yet. It's launching sometime later this month. So the link in the description box below is for the waitlist. So get on the waitlist so you won't miss when it drops. All right, my loves, so that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on your progressed moon phase and what it means for your financial story. All right, so to recap, the progressed moon reveals your internal financial timing. It signifies new beginnings, expansion, harvest, and release. It tells you when to do things and essentially when not to do things. But more importantly, it details what chapter you are in your life, all right? And if you want to know more about your progressed moon phases, I'll leave the link to a previously recorded video in the description box below. All right, so don't forget to take the Abundance Archetype quiz, which is also linked below. If you've got questions, whether about progressed natal charts, your progressed moon phase, or any of the other questions you may have in relation to the series or otherwise, join us over in Cosmic Collective for this week's live Q&A, which is happening on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right. And also, don't forget to enter the giveaway where I will be gifting 3 or up to 3 blueprint experiences. All right. And that's lasting all month long for the duration of this series. So if you want to enter, link is in the description box below. All right. And so tomorrow, join me where we'll look at the lunar eclipses and what they mean for your finances. Honey, those eclipses are electric. And this is when you experience major shifts in your financial story. All right. So that concludes this video. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you later. Take care.